As long as automakers keep producing them and car dealers keep selling them, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety will keep crashing them. This time around, some of the most popular midsize cars on the road will go through the Institute's demanding offset test. At the pricey end of the market, two Lexus models, the ES300 and IS300, as well as the Saab 9.5, Volvo S60, and Jaguar X-Type. Also, two mid-price cars, the Acura TL and Hyundai XG350, and two inexpensive cars, Toyota's Camry and Nissan's Altima. The Institute bought these cars from dealers for between $23,000 and $40,000. But do you have to pay a lot to get safety? You'll find out tonight. We'll tell you how the Institute rates these 9 2002 models.
Not even a crack on the windshield.
And compare them to other current midsize cars.
I'm going to have a hard time getting this dummy out.
And we'll show you what happened here that made one automaker decide more than 100,000 cars needed to be brought back for a fix. All cars sold in the U.S. must pass federal safety standards, but when they come here, the Institute crashes them at 40 miles per hour at an offset, simulating what happens when a car drifts over the line and hits a similar size vehicle. The Institute rates their performance as good, acceptable, marginal, or poor. Brian O'Neill and his staff encourage auto companies to make and consumers to buy safer cars. That keeps claims down for the insurance companies that fund the Institute.
No manufacturer wants their vehicle shown on Dateline collapsing and having Brian O'Neill and Lee Thompson saying bad things about it.
First, let's look at the 5 luxury cars. The Lexus ES300.
Exactly what I want to see. The compartment is essentially undamaged.
Well, then, how about the ES300's slightly smaller cousin, the Lexus IS300?
It does very well in the test.
The Institute rates both the ES and IS300s from Toyota's luxury division goods. Plus, they earn Best Pick status. You can't get better than that. Now, a rematch. 4 years ago, the 9.5 from Saab was tested and rated acceptable. Can the redesigned 2002 model beat that? O'Neill shows us what happened using the Institute's slow-motion films.
Well, you look at this part of the compartment and you see that there's a little buckling here, but basically it's retained its shape.
O'Neill says there's danger of a right foot injury, but nothing serious enough to keep the Institute from awarding the 2002 Saab 9.5 a good and a best pick. Another luxury car, the Volvo S60. To believe Volvo's ads, Volvo is all about safety. How does the S60 do?
It also is a good performer. Structurally, it does very well.
Possible leg injuries, but the Volvo S60 does get a good. Here's the new Jaguar X-Type. It's the car's first time at the Insurance Institute and its first time down this runway. Brian, this is a $37,000 automobile that you're slamming into this barrier here. How'd it do?
The structural performance was very good. We recorded some moderately high forces on the left leg.
The Jaguar X-Type gets a good. Let's go down market a bit to the mid-price cars. This is the $29,000 Acura TL. The passenger compartment holds up fine, and O'Neill only suspects an ankle injury. The Institute rates the Acura TL a good, and it's another best pick.
All right, go ahead and turn ignition switch on.
This is the XG350 from Hyundai.
We got some buckling here. There's somewhat more intrusion in the foot region in this vehicle than any of the other vehicles in this class.
So there's room for improvement, but the Hyundai XG350 still gets a good. Now for the least expensive midsize cars, this $23,000 Camry is the third the Institute has tested. The last version of the Toyota Camry got a best pick. Where do you go from up?
You don't go anywhere from up but down, but if Toyota has not gone down, they've got an extremely good design here. Look at the windshield. Not a crack on the windshield.
It's another best pick. Finally, the Nissan Altima. This is the 2000 version. It had significant structural collapse and only rated acceptable. Here's the 2002. O'Neill says the structure is much improved. And because the car abruptly rotates after the crash, the side airbag inflates, protecting the dummy's head from the door frame. O'Neill would like to see that happen in more cars. In this car, though, it's the front airbag he's worried about.
The airbag fired late. It was over 70 milliseconds into the crash before the airbag fired. So you see the dummy has gone far forward before that bag deploys.
And that's a problem.
That's a problem. We've talked to Nissan engineers about it. They've identified this problem, and they came up with a fix.
Recognizing a real person might get serious head injuries if an airbag deployed so close to his face, Nissan has already improved the sensors and rushed them to the assembly line. Then the company asked the Institute to test the Altima again. The fix works, and the airbag fires on time. The Institute notes the possibility of an injury to the left leg, but overall rates the 2002 Altima a good. By the way, if you own one of the 127,000 2002 Nissan Altimas built before the airbag problem was corrected, you do need to contact your dealer and take your car in to have that sensor replaced, free of charge. Every car the Institute looked at this round rated a good, something it has never seen before. But these are only 9 of 30 mid-sized cars the Institute has looked at that are still on the market, and not all of them fared as well. Here are the ratings for some of those other current designs they've tested here. In the luxury category, if you can afford it, you're pretty safe. The Mercedes C-Class, Volvo S80, and BMW 3 Series all get goods and best picks. The Audi A6, a step down, acceptable. In the mid-price category, the Toyota Avalon and the Volkswagen Passat get the highest rating. The Saab 9.3, Mazda Millennia, and Nissan Maxima, also sold as the Infiniti i30, rank acceptable. The Institute has tested many inexpensive mid-size cars. Here are the best and the worst. Goods go to the Subaru Legacy, Dodge Stratus, also sold as the Chrysler Sebring, and Mazda 626. The Subaru gets a best pick. The Institute rates as poor the Pontiac Grand Am, also marketed by GM as the Oldsmobile Alero, Chevrolet Cavalier, also sold as the Pontiac Sunfire, and the Laganza from Daewoo. Would it be fair to say that you do not recommend these vehicles to the American public?
We certainly do not recommend the American public buy vehicles that we rate as poor performers.
But 3 pours out of all these mid-size cars is much improved from what the Insurance Institute saw when it started these offset tests 7 years ago. Back then, many automakers criticized the Institute's test as too fast and too severe. Today, they design their cars to withstand a 40-mile-an-hour offset crash. Do you ever sit back and think about the fact that maybe you've saved some lives?
Well, I think there's no question that this program has saved lives. No question.